Western Illinois coach Joe Davis, the team 31-20 winners at Charleston Southern in their first conference game as a part of the Big South OVC. They are going to be next this week home. They're going to face UT Martin, who is now 1-1 in conference play, coming off 2 straight wins. So, coach, just first conference game, you go down and you get a win. Just thoughts on that, and we'll go to some questions.
Well, proud of our players and our program. Certainly to go on the road there in your first game as a new member of a new conference. There's a lot of challenges to it from a logistical standpoint to a mental preparation standpoint, and then certainly the execution factor that has to happen on the field. So again, proud of our team for coming out of that game with a victory. Certainly the early turnovers were a huge positive for us, and happened at opportune times and an opportune field position, and we were able to capitalize on those and really never look back. We led all 4 quarters, all 60 minutes of that game, and really look at that football game Saturday evening, and I think it was really positive contributions and consistent contributions from all 3 phases of the game. I mean, I think defensively, certainly the early turnovers were massive. And although, we have a lot of work to do when it comes to shoring up, preventing explosive plays, our defense got stops, but we needed to get stops and kept them out of the end zone. Special teams, certainly Antonio Chata winning the OVC Big South, Coast Special Teams Player of the Week, really flipped the field kickoff wise, had the big field goal, was perfect on extra points. Jared Campbell came in and did an excellent job punting the football when we needed to do that. And then offensively, to have scores in all the quarters and, maintain some consistency. Charleston Southern did a nice job of really keeping us off the field there with their run game, especially in the second quarter. We had the 1 turnover, and up until that 2-minute drive, had 1 play in the second quarter. And so, being able to do what we did with a limited play count, I think was a positive for us. So again, all in all, good night for the Leathernecks, and excited to move in here into this next challenge.
Thanks, Coach. If you have a question for Coach, let me know down in the chat, and then I'll call on you. Barry is up first. Go ahead, Barry.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How are you today?
Good morning, Barry. Doing well.
Good. I wanted to start with you today with, obviously breaking the streak and winning at home was a big highlight for you guys. What does it say about this group to go 1,000 miles and win a road game like that in the first game in the new league?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, all very challenging things to do. As much as you prepare as a staff, you don't know exactly how the team's always going to respond to getting on an airplane and traveling down there into the Southeast to play. So, I think it says a lot and gives us a lot to build on. We were very, very fortunate to have a very strong contingent of Western supporters there on Saturday night. A lot of friends, family, and a lot of football alums that created a little rendezvous to come down to Charleston, South Carolina to see us play. So we had a full side of our stadium, and I think that was a big positive. We had some alums that came into the hotel Friday night and were able to share some of their experiences here in this football program with our team in the hotel Friday night. I think that meant a lot. Certainly meant a lot to me, and I think it meant a lot to our players as well. So, yeah, a lot of resiliency shown, and a lot to build on here moving forward for us.
Defensively, you got contributions kind of all over the map from a lot of guys at different levels of the defense. Has there been kind of a persistence in this group and just getting things corrected, from the start of the season?
Yeah, I think so. You watch how we practice, and again, I'm looking for more of our practice, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to translate into Saturdays. We put our players here in a lot of competitive situations at practice, and I've seen our defense do some pretty special things in practice against our offense, and just haven't seen that consistently enough, on Saturdays. And so to see some of that show up was a big positive for us. Although we've stayed relatively healthy this year, the one position that we've taken a big hit on is inside linebacker. We lost Juan De La Cruz in camp. We just got him back. Diego Neri who we were really excited about, is now done for the season, was playing that boundary linebacker position for us, with a broken foot. Mike Newman was out last weekend with a concussion, and we'll hopefully have him back soon. And so to have Aiden Harrison step in there, and come up with a couple big plays early, I think says a lot about, about some kids in this program that have stuck it out. When things got tough, they easily could have left. And Aiden's an example of a young man that stuck it out, and happy to see him come up, with a couple plays on Saturday.
The pick six obviously was a big play for Aiden. Can you tell me a little bit about just what he saw on that play and just kind of how he kind of made that play happen?
Well, it's interesting because I told him on the sideline after that, I said, man, you've done that to us in practice on offense multiple times. Aiden's a long player. He was a very highly recruited young man out of high school in Metro Detroit. Ended up becoming a Power 4 recruit and signing with Missouri as a safety, as a defensive back. So he certainly has some ball skills, to him at his core, and then came to Western as a transfer, had been injured here quite a bit in his career, and really put on some size where we thought, hey, his best spot to help us is probably going to be at middle linebacker. He's a long, big rangy player. That I think early in the season just we're still sort of trying to figure out playing Mike linebacker, and so to get that opportunity Saturday night, I wasn't surprised that he made that pick. I've seen him do it a ton of times in practice, and obviously was a massive a point in that football game for us.
Last one I hit for you, Coach. Your passing game is number one in offensive efficiency in the league. What would you attribute that to, and are you surprised it's come along that quickly?
Yeah, I would say I look at it probably a little bit differently. I'm certainly pleased with the efficiency. I'm not surprised. Nate's a very accurate passer, and he certainly has done some things with his legs this year to get us out of some sticky situations. We pride ourselves in this program, as I have for 20 years as a quarterback coach, and in protecting the football. I still think we're missing a lot of big plays in the pass game, to be honest with you. I think we missed them Saturday night, and to hit on explosive plays in the pass game, it requires protection, it requires quarterback timing, and it certainly requires, wide receivers being able to make some plays down the field. So I'm still waiting for that a little bit. I think in these first 5 games, we've left some big plays out in the field, and that's not a knock on any of our opponents. It's more just a lack of execution on our standpoint. So, right now we are very efficient in the pass game, and I'm pleased with that. I think it's very complementary to what we're doing with the run game. But I want us to take a step in the pass game when it comes to, creating more explosive plays down the field.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach. I always appreciate your time.
Absolutely, Barry. See you soon.
Take care.
I'll ask you one more, Coach, and we'll let you go. Just a little bit more about UT Martin. And then 2 weeks ago, they got an FBS win. They won again this week. Just what have you seen from them?
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about tough schedules. I mean, they've had about as tough a schedule as anybody. I mean, you can arguably say they've played 3 FBS games, with Kansas State, Kennesaw State, and Missouri State, wherever they're at in the transition up to FBS. So, I mean, Coach Simpson's done a heck of a job. I mean, he's one of the winningest coaches in the history of this league. And I think he's a great example of doing more with less. They've created a niche down there in Martin, Tennessee, in terms of the type of athletes they recruit, the type of athletes they've been able to retain. He's done an excellent job always at the quarterback position. As an offensive play caller, being able to keep his hands and so heavily involved in the offense, you can see it. They're creative on offense. They find where you're weak and are able to exploit you in that. And in my time in the OVC, they always have a good back, and they got another one this year that's explosive and changes games and has, explosive runs all over the field. So monumental challenge for us here Saturday on campus against a really, really good team that, in my opinion, is far more impressive than their 3-3 record. And so, we'll have our hands full. Happy to be at home this Saturday, but a lot of respect for Coach Simpson and his football program, and looking forward to a great football game on Saturday.
Coach, appreciate your time this morning, as always. Best of luck in that game, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks so much, guys.